During the early morning hours of June 30th, 2002, a text was received from a 21-year-old Indigenous woman who was last seen getting into a vehicle with a young man she met earlier that evening. The text read, "Come get me, they won't let me leave." Unfortunately, she was never found. Rumors swirled that she was killed by a group of people in a snuff film. The person that gave her a ride that fateful night has not provided answers, and no one has been charged in relation to her disappearance. Welcome to Without a Trace. I'm your host, Jalyn. Every file holds a mystery. Every story deserves to be heard. This is Lisa's story. Lisa Young was born on May 5th, 1981 in Nanaimo, British Columbia. She was the first child and only daughter of Dawn and Joanne. She was a healthy and beautiful baby with dark, curly hair just like her father. She started crawling when she was just 5 months old, and 2 months later, she had learned to walk. This was the first sign of Lisa's determined nature. Lisa adored her younger brothers, Brian and Robbie, and was very protective over them. Lisa is described as beautiful and fiery, talented and caring. She was independent and hardworking, but she was also outgoing, confident, and bubbly. She was the type of person you noticed right away, as she had a light about her. On the evening of June 29, 2002, Lisa visited her parents. She had a beer with her dad and watched TV. She hung out at her parents' house until 11 p.m., when she then went to a local bar, The Jungle, with several friends to celebrate her friend Dallas's 21st birthday. While at The Jungle, Lisa and her friends were approached by Christopher Adair. At closing time, Lisa and her friends were talking in the parking lot of the bar when Christopher invited them to a house party, offering them a ride in the red Jaguar he was driving. The group hung out at the house party for a while before deciding to go to another house. At the second house, Lisa and her friends, Wade, Ryan, Jason, and Dallas, hung out with Chris. The group decided to eat, but with Lisa being vegetarian, there weren't many options for her. Chris offered to give Lisa a ride to Subway, one of her favorite places. No one else went with them. After Subway, Chris took Lisa to a different house party. Lisa was last seen at approximately 3 a.m. on June 30th, 2002. She sent a text message at 4:30 a.m. to her friend Dallas saying, "Come get me, they won't let me leave." Lisa then called Dallas's phone saying, quote, "Dallas, I don't know what's going on. This guy won't bring me back. We're sitting in a driveway and he won't bring me back. I'm bored. I'm getting pissed off." The final signal from Lisa's cell phone was traced to the Departure Bay area of Nanaimo. On July 1st, 2002, Lisa's parents failed to hear from her. At first, they thought Lisa was too busy to answer her cell phone, but their concern grew when Lisa's former roommate visited to ask about Lisa's whereabouts. Her parents tried calling every phone number in Lisa's phone book, but no one knew where Lisa was. At 11:30 a.m. on July 1st, Lisa's mom called the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to report Lisa missing. In the beginning, her parents were told to call when she had been missing for over 48 hours. However, an officer came over to the household later that evening to ask questions and get a photograph of Lisa. It was extremely concerning to Lisa's family that she had gone missing, as she was excited about the plans she had made for the days ahead. She had made specific arrangements for Monday, July 1st, involving her father and others who she had asked to help move into a new apartment, for which she had already paid a security deposit and was scheduled to get the keys for on Monday. She was recently hired for a customer service position at a local call center. She was scheduled to start the following day on Tuesday, July 2nd, and she was very eager to start this job. On Tuesday, after Lisa failed to show up for either event, her mother tried repeatedly contacting the officer who had picked up the photo of Lisa. She was eventually told the officer was off work until Friday, July 5th, so the matter would have to wait until then, but nothing suggested foul play. Further persistence resulted in the case being assigned to a different officer on Wednesday, July 3rd. That day, the police told Lisa's parents that her disappearance was being investigated by their serious crime unit. Police had concluded that foul play was likely involved after Lisa had left a house party. On July 3rd, Lisa's family contacted the local media, and the following morning, her disappearance was on the front page. On July 5th, the story was picked up by Victoria, and the following week, the story was posted throughout newspapers province-wide. Her father's employer printed thousands of missing persons posters, which the company delivery drivers distributed to businesses across Vancouver Island. Lisa's extended family and First Nations members put up a reward of $11,500 for information about her disappearance. On Saturday, July 6th, news stations began reporting that, quote, no evidence has emerged to indicate to police that foul play is involved in Lisa's disappearance. The police then stated, quote, investigators become more concerned with every day that passes. They also noted that they have a number of tips they want to follow up on, including a claim that Lisa left the club as a passenger in a dark vehicle. On July 9th, news reports began surfacing, stating the police have 5 serious crimes investigators working on her disappearance, and they've received 24 tips. The next day, it was announced that the police now believe foul play was involved. Within 2 weeks of Lisa's disappearance, members of her extended family received several phone calls from unknown callers claiming that her body had been located. The police publicly announced that a week earlier, similar rumors had appeared on multiple online chat sites. Within 4 days of Lisa's disappearance, both Lisa's mother and the police received information that Lisa was seen getting into a dark red or maroon late 80s Jaguar. It was around July 20th when the police finally identified the Jaguar's driver's home. Investigators spoke to the owner of the car, who explained the car was driven by her grandson, Christopher Adair. Police subsequently took Christopher into custody and questioned him about Lisa's disappearance. Lisa's mother was brought in to confront Christopher in a room she described as small, with a large photo of Lisa and a whiteboard with the words rape, murder, accident. An investigator asked Lisa's mother to hug the man, which she did. Then she directly asked him to tell her where her daughter was. Christopher responded something like, I can't, before pausing and saying, I'm sorry, I don't mean to disrespect your family. Christopher was eventually released with no charges being pressed. The police later said the driver, like many others in this file, is simply a person of interest. Lisa's parents felt frustrated that the driver was released, and the police never disclosed to them the driver's explanation of what happened. But they had his name, and using his name, they found his address. Her parents did what they could, trying several ways to make contact with the man or his grandmother, with no success. Lisa's father, understandably distraught, was prepared to alert the media about the driver's release. 2 officers showed up to their house, warning her father that they would charge him with obstruction of justice if he pursued media coverage. The police also warned Lisa's mother for taking photos of the Jaguar from the street at the driver's grandmother's house. And they warned Don to stop emailing the grandmother. Don then informed police that he was adding the driver's name to the posters, but police warned him not to. He didn't listen to this warning, as various posters were later distributed showing the man's name with a photo of the Jaguar and his face. As a result, Lisa's parents received a letter from police informing them that they were cut off from receiving further details about the case. Christopher's grandmother subsequently sold the Jaguar and threatened to sue over talk that could implicate her grandson in Lisa's disappearance. The police eventually located the vehicle and seized it for DNA testing. However, they found that the vehicle had been steam cleaned before it was sold. Dissatisfied with police efforts on the case, Lisa's grandfather organized the tribal search and rescue into several massive search efforts in multiple locations. Searches took place between July and December 2002, as well as the spring and summertime of 2003. Search teams consisted of up to 30 volunteers and divers. Unfortunately, nothing was found. Lisa's family contacted her bank and cell phone providers and were able to determine that her bank account had funds, but no activity, and the final signal from her phone was sent from the Departure Bay area of Nanaimo. Police did not start searching for Lisa until 2 months after her disappearance, quote, leaving the job for relatives and friends to do on their own. In August of 2000, investigators received a tip that prompted them to plan their first ground search. The search was originally scheduled for September 3rd, but the shooting of Rosella Sentis postponed the search. On September 10th, police announced they will perform a search in the days ahead, and on September 14th, they further announced the search would take place on Tuesday, September 17th. However, the search didn't begin until Wednesday, September 18th, when 20 officers and 2 dogs spent 3 hours searching. The next day, authorities announced further searches in different areas may be carried out in the future. On November 30th, Lisa's family took it upon themselves to search the area, searched by police on September 18th. In November of 2002, authorities shared Lisa's case is progressing slowly due to having no leads or information helping them solve the mystery. They also stated that police wanted to search another area, but they have not been able to arrange the required number of officers for the search. Lisa's mother remained persistent in the search for her daughter. She thought to contact Crime Stoppers to inquire about making a reenactment video, but she was told the request needs to come from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. She then asked one of the investigators to make the request, but he told her he didn't feel that the video would be helpful at this time. In May of 2003, Lisa's father expressed frustration because he had not heard from the police in 3 months, and they seemed to have no interest in their suggestions of a Crime Stoppers reenactment video. The police then stated that Crime Stoppers stopped making reenactment videos, something that was not true. Starting in the year 2003, Lisa's loved ones started gathering on or around June 30th for a walk for Lisa, with the hopes that her disappearance remains in the public eye. The walk starts at the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Station and marches through the streets of downtown. Following a 1-year vigil held in 2003, Lisa's mother was contacted by a psychic, Christine Brandt. Based on the information provided by Christine, Lisa's family asked Terry Tom and Andrew Jackson, both certified divers, to search the reservoirs at Colliery Dam Park. A private dive team conducted the search on July 25, 2003. In August 2003, authorities issued a second statement refuting new claims that had surfaced again, saying that Lisa's body had been recovered. In May 2009, it was announced a Crime Stoppers reenactment video would be produced, with the police stating they were hoping somebody may remember something, and that the video would generate discussion, something Lisa's family had hoped for 6 years previously. Annually, since 2010, Red Dress Day is honored on Lisa's birthday, May 5th. Red Dress Day is a solemn occasion to raise awareness of the devastating epidemic of violence against Indigenous women and girls. For several months, beginning in December 2019, a billboard space was rented along the Island Highway with large signage stating Lisa Marie Young, missing, brown eyes, 5 foot 4 inches, tattoo flower band on right arm, call Nanaimo RCMP. Funding for the rental and the signage was raised through private sales of beaded red dress pins and earrings, handmade by volunteers of the Little Red Dress Project. On October 8, 2020, a House of Commons debate was held which discussed amendment of a bill in the Indian Act. During this debate, several concerns surrounding the handling of Lisa's case were presented. To start, when Lisa's mother first contacted police to report her daughter missing, she was told she needed to wait 48 hours before a missing report could be filed. This is a common myth, and there is actually no waiting period in Canada. Experts say the first 72 hours in a missing person investigation are the most critical. There was also concern that Lisa's case had only received recent attention due to the popularity of a podcast, which also made it very clear that the police did not respond in a proper way. For example, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police did not engage in a ground search until Lisa had been missing for 79 days. It was the members of the First Nation who conducted searches on their own, without the help of police. Additionally, police did not interview anyone from the nightclub, including staff and some of Lisa's friends. There were also concerns over the way police handled potential physical evidence, specifically the Jaguar not being examined until it had been steam cleaned and detailed. Authorities also dismissed an urgent call from a witness who is believed to be an accomplice of Lisa's killers. The individual called to alert Lisa's family of when and where her body was being moved from. This isn't the only tip the Royal Canadian Mounted Police ignored. Investigators were slow to respond to callers who were seeking to provide information on Lisa's disappearance, and in some instances, police entirely failed to respond to these individuals. One informant, a former associate of the prime suspect, called police in 2006 to report details of Lisa's murder. It was reported that Lisa was taken to make a snuff film where she was drugged, sexually assaulted, and then killed by accident, as it was not the intention to actually go through with the whole process. It is alleged that because this individual was known to police, the tip was not investigated properly. Many community members began to feel concerned that the prime suspect in Lisa's case may be a police informant, and the police have no obligation to release any of that information. During this debate, it was also brought up that Lisa's mother was taken to the police station to take part in an interview with Christopher Adair, the driver of the Jaguar and the last person known to see Lisa alive. Upon entering the room, she was told by police to hug the driver, which is undeniably weird. It was summarized that the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and other police forces have not gone through proper procedures of ensuring that these cases are investigated properly. Many called the handling of the case horrific and asked that the federal government form a task force. A couple of months after this debate, in December 2020, a second ground search was completed by police. Authorities searched a residential property located at 827 Nanaimo Lakes Road, parts of the Morel Nature Sanctuary, which is adjacent to the residential property, and the Colliery Dam's Upper Reservoir, also nearby the residential location. These searches revealed nothing. In June of 2021, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police hosted a press conference to provide an update on Lisa's investigation. They shared that as a result of new and historical information, there have been numerous searches in the last year utilizing ground-penetrating radar and police dogs. In the future, they plan to search additional undisclosed locations. This was the last time authorities made a public statement about Lisa and the investigation into her disappearance. In February of 2022, an anonymous American donor offered a $50,000 U.S. reward for information that leads investigators to the location of her remains. Investigators were hopeful this reward might be enough to encourage some of those people to bring forward the final pieces. Although Lisa has never been found, her disappearance is being investigated as a homicide. Police have received more than 15,000 documents and hundreds of witnesses in Lisa's file, but no arrests have been made. Christopher Adair has since relocated to Turkey and is believed to be residing there for the foreseeable future. Lisa's family and friends continue to spread awareness of her disappearance through billboards, city bus ads, lawn signs, business cards, and apparel. A public Facebook group called Lisa Marie Young was created in November 2008 by a close friend. As of today, the group has over 8,000 members and continues to expand and remain active. Thank you for listening to Without a Trace with your host, Jolene. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into Lisa's disappearance. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe and follow Without a Trace on social media. And join me next week as I dive into another case.